The Japanese took the view that it was supplies from other countries that was keeping the Chinese fighting. Whatever supplies that the Soviet Union provided over land and whatever other countries sent across the Burma Road or the Haiphong-Hanoi Railway from French Indochina were welcomed by the Chinese. But it was not this that caused them to decide to continue fighting. They would have continued to fight regardless, with or without outside assistance. Because of their focus on the fight with China, German victories in the West in April, May, and June of 1940 looked to the Japanese government as an opportunity to close off much of the outside aid. For years, Japan had tried unsuccessfully by diplomacy to have the French government close the Haiphong-Hanoi Railway. Now there appeared to be an alternative. The Japanese army would occupy the northern part of Indochina and thereby close the route. The Vichy government, to which the French colonial administration was loyal, was agreeable to this request. In September 1940, as Vichy forces fought to keep the British and Free French away from Dakar in French West Africa, Japanese forces quietly occupied northern Indochina. In view of the dangerous situation Britain was in after Germany's victory in France, the Japanese were able to pressurize the London government into closing the Burma Road for 3 months. When the 3 months were up, victory in the Battle of Britain made reopening the road look feasible, and Britain did so. The leaders in Tokyo did not need the Germans to point out that the defeat of the Netherlands and France made their East Asian colonies attractive targets for the expansion of Japan's empire. Furthermore, Britain's need to defend the home islands against a possible German invasion and to defend its position in the Middle East against Italy in practice made it most difficult, if not impossible, for it to defend its vast possessions in South and Southeast Asia and the dominions of Australia and New Zealand. When the Germans pointed this out to Tokyo as a unique opportunity to seize Singapore, the Japanese responded that they planned to do so, but in 1946. That was the year when, under legislation passed by the United States Congress, the United States would give up its bases in the Philippines, which was scheduled to become independent in 1944. The German government realized that the factor restraining Japan was concern about the Americans on the left flank of any southward advance. Since they expected to go to war with the United States anyway, they promised to join Japan in war with the United States as soon as Japan attacked the United States. Germany would then have on its side the major navy it had not yet been able to construct, before the Americans could complete construction of the two-ocean navy Congress had approved. When Japanese Foreign Minister Matsuoka Yasuke visited Germany in March 1941, Hitler personally repeated this promise. Debates within the Japanese government revolved around the issue of timing and were influenced by the German invasion of the Soviet Union in June 1941. Rather than joining their German and Italian partners of the September 1940 tripartite pact against the Soviets, the Tokyo leaders decided to move south. It was clear to them that since the Soviet Union was fighting for its life, it could neither strike Japan in the back as Japan moved south, nor continue to provide substantial aid to the Chinese nationalists. In July 1941, therefore, Japanese forces occupied the southern part of French Indochina, clearly moving away from concentrating on war with China to preparing attacks on territories controlled by the Netherlands, Britain, and the United States in East and Southeast Asia, as well as the South Pacific. There were both continued discussion within the Japanese government and detailed preparation for attacks on Malaya, the Dutch East Indies, the Philippines, and other American island possessions in the Pacific. It never occurred to any leaders in Tokyo that the conquest of the oil wells, tin mines, and rubber plantations of Southeast Asia could not lead to moving these wells, mines, and plantations to the home islands of Japan. It would merely mean Japanese control of the sites, with the need to move their products to the home islands on Japanese ships, without the help of chartered ships of other countries. Of critical significance for the fighting Japan was about to start was, therefore, that no serious preparations had been made either to utilize their own limited shipping efficiently or to protect it from submarine attack. While the Japanese were preparing their moves and printing occupation currency for the lands to be conquered, the American and British governments were trying to discourage them from attacking their possessions. Unlike the Soviets, who had sent supplies to the Germans until minutes before being attacked, the American government had earlier reduced some forms of trade with Japan and had embargoed oil when southern Indochina was occupied. Knowing that there was no Chinese navy for Japan to fight with, oil was a product needed by Japan for war with Britain, the Netherlands, and the United States.